Hello, Christian. Nice to meet you. My name is Laura, and I'm the content marketing manager at HHL, and I'm very happy to meet you today. So how are you and where are you at the moment?
Yeah, hi Laura. Thanks for having me. Actually, I'm sitting in our office in Bamberg right now. To be very precise, I'm sitting in our kitchen to have a quiet space.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that we can talk today about your very special business because it's about beer, the famous German favorite drink, beer. And of course, it's a story about you as an entrepreneur, and your very unique beer store, Die Bierothek. But first, might you like to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, maybe how old are you, something like, yeah.
Yes, sure. Yeah, my name is Christian Klemenz. I'm from Franconia, so actually where our company is now headquartered, that's also where I'm originally from. After my high school times, I went to study business administration in Munich, China, India, and at HHL in Leipzig. That's also where my entrepreneurial journey started. So I was always very interested in entrepreneurship and wanted to do my own thing. And I also was very interested in beer, or was one of my big passions. And so basically I combined these two passions and started off my beer venture right after HHL, basically.
Really cool story. Beer venture, I like the word. And you call yourself a beerfluencer too. And yeah, as you said, you turned your passion into your profession. This is now 11 years ago. And yeah, you found your own beer brand. And you also started brewing the kind of the first craft beer of Germany. Is that right? Yes. And I'd like to know what inspired you to do this very special thing that was kind of new by that time. What was your intention?
Yeah, so at the end of my studies at HHL, I was doing my semester abroad in India in 2010. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised to see back then that in India, even though it was already very developed in many aspects, but there was almost no German beer available in the Indian market back then. And so I thought, okay, I have to change that, and so that's basically how the business basically started. So I started to create my own beer label, St. Erhard, and brewed the beer in Germany and exported it to India. So that's how we started off. And as you already mentioned, back then the term craft beer was in Germany at least pretty much not existed yet. So I started the business without even knowing what this craft beer movement is about. So kind of like I started a craft beer business by accident, if you want to say so, and then through export, not only to India, but because then also quite early on we started to export to other foreign markets like Hong Kong, New Zealand, Mexico, and so on. And wow. Through this export activity, we got in touch with the, let's say, international craft beer scene, which was already more developed than in Germany at that time. Mm-hmm. And early on realized that there's this new movement of special beers produced by small manufacturers, and we also saw that in other markets usually there are particular distributors who are dealing with these kinds of products. So the big industry brands are distributed by other distributors than small craft beer labels, and this didn't exist in Germany back then. So we then decided to create our own distribution channel, which then turned out to become Bierothek.
Really funny story. Started up in India and now you're that big and fancy. Well, to sum it up, for somebody who doesn't know Die Bierothek, if you had to say in 3 sentences, what is it for and for whom? What would you say?
Mm-hmm. Bierothek is a specialty beer store, offline as well as online, where you can find a huge variety of all kinds of different beers and tastes. And we are not only a place to buy beers, but also to experience, to get advice, and also even do beer seminars or tastings to experience the beauty of beer.
Experience. I read that on your website and I was like, okay, that's really funny. Was the intentional idea, was it your idea and did you start it on your very own, or did you have a partner, or how did that work?
Yeah. I mean, so I was always the driving force, so to say, like who came up with the initial idea and who drove the whole thing. But you cannot build a business all by yourself. Like you have to find partners in whatever way. So then early on, I also got two of my fellow students on board. One which I met through university, the other one I met at an internship I was doing in San Francisco during my studies, and so they got on board as shareholders and partners early on, but more like in a minority role. So I was always the sole managing director, but obviously I had partners and who helped me a lot in the early phase, and
yeah. Okay, great, cool. And how did you sell the beer? Was it like first shipping to Asia because you wanted the beer to be available in Asia, or how did that work?
Yeah, so the basic idea, probably kind of naive, as like back then I was 23 years old, had no idea how beer is produced. I already liked it as a consumer, but I had no idea about like the economics about it as well. So I just approached several breweries here in my home area of Franconia, asked them if they would be willing to cooperate to brew my beer. Created and designed like a unique packaging, where we then also later on were awarded the German Design Award for special packaging, and and then just try to get things rolling, and also with my Indian business partner who was taking care of the licenses and so on in India, which is quite complicated. Mm-hmm. So we just try to get everything out of the way, which was holding us back.
Okay, so then you found the way into the supermarkets and stores over there. And how did it come that you started a retail store in Germany too? What was the intention of that? Did you plan to make craft beer great in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned already before, like through this export activity, we saw like how craft beer is distributed and sold in other markets, and then we realized like for craft beer to be successful in Germany, it also needs like a more particular retail concept. So our stores are, I mean, like beer specialty stores, if you want to say so. Yeah, so it's like not only a place to buy, but also a place to experience, like where you get where our staff gives you advice about the beer. You can do tastings and so on. Yeah, like so much more unique experience as like in a regular supermarket. And so this was our basic assumption in the beginning, that we said like in order to get Germans aware and also interested in these new beers, we need this special concept. So that's why we started it.
Making beer an adventure for Germans too. Cool. Well, that was kind of a brave step. You had to carry some risks, I guess. And on what basis and securities could you build your business? What did encourage you? Do you think your study skills and maybe even the HHL network helped you kind of in that way and gave you security, or what were the main securities you had?
Yeah, I mean, definitely HHL as an institution and so on, and also the education helped me and gave me kind of the security what you mentioned, because I mean, I think it's a lot about mindset. And so I always thought, you know, like when I started the company, I was like 24 years old. I had a good education. and I thought I had not many liabilities back then. And so I thought, I have nothing to lose. So like opportunity cost is quite low. Like what's the harm? Even if I do not succeed, I can do the job like 2-3 years later, which I would have done 2-3 years before. Yeah. So I didn't really see it as a big risk. Yeah. And I was always quite relaxed with the possible outcomes. So maybe that's also a reason why, or one of the reasons to be successful eventually, that you do not not think about the risks too much, but think about the opportunity.
Yeah, no risk, no fun. In the meanwhile, Die Bierothek grew in the past 11 years. As you mentioned before, you don't have only various retail stores in various cities, for example, in Austria and in Germany. You also have an online store, and you offer even events such as beer seminars. How did you decide to develop it in that way? Is it just like, you went with the flow, or is there kind of a concrete plan?
I mean, obviously, the larger an organization gets, like the more you have to strategize and plan. But I mean, in the beginning, I mean, we were very, we just went for it. So, for example, like our first interior design of our first store. I mean, we had no money, so basically, it was mainly done by my sister and a good friend of mine. And we used like the cheapest wood we could get, to build this store. So basically, I mean, if you start small, you always are dealing with constraints, especially financial constraints, and you just have to deal with it. So what may look very strategic in hindsight is usually sometimes not so strategic in the moment that you started.
Okay, and how many stores do you have at the moment?
About 20 stores all across Germany and Austria.
Wow, that's quite a lot. And I read that there is a franchise system. Is this already on, or is it just a plan to use it?
Yeah, I mean, by now all our stores are run as franchises. So that's also something which kind of came about and wasn't planned in the beginning. So obviously we started our first store by ourselves, like running it by ourselves. But then already like only a few months in, there were first people approaching us and saying like, wow, that's a great concept. Like, why is there no Bierothek store in my city? And we said like, okay, if you want to open a store, like, okay, let's find a way. And so the first franchise store came about, and then we saw that it's quite good model for us. Like, so we as like the headquarter, we take care of the entire system, like all the IT infrastructure, procurement, sourcing, and everything. Everything related. And the shops on the ground are run by entrepreneurs, basically, who run them on their own bill. And but it's like one unified brand, obviously, and it turned out to be like a very good model for us, and that's also how we continue to grow.
Very interesting. And you're selling beer via the online store too. Mm-hmm. Do you know what has been the farthest beer shipping you had?
Probably New Zealand. I guess that's the most far away place from Germany. We have beers from all over the world. I mean, our approach is not to just have a beer from a certain country just because it's far away, but it should definitely have a certain quality, or like it has to have something special to it, not only the country where it's from. But so, for example, like great IPAs you can get in the US, some great dark stout beers you can get from Ireland, for example. So, and that's why we are sourcing from all over the world. Yeah, but we are sourcing for quality and not for geography, but obviously geography also plays a role.
And to offer a wide range of beer experiences from all over the world, of course. Yes. That's kind of unique, I think. And yeah, I think that was very interesting, of course. And I think all the watchers should have definitely a look on your website, and then they will see, okay, that's so impressive how many beer you have in your portfolio. And that brings me to my next question. How many types of beer do or did you have in your portfolio? Do you know a concrete number?
So at any given point in time, we have like more than 500-600 beers in our central warehouse. But that's only in our central warehouse. Yeah, so like each shop and store also has like a small own portfolio of local beers and so on. Yeah, so it goes into the thousands, and also because like beers. We are also dealing with a lot of seasonal beers, and also new beers are coming in all the time. So over the course of a year, so we're dealing with several thousands of different beers. And if you want to ask if I've tried them all, no, I have not. Yeah?
That would have been my next question. But do you still have kind of your favorite beer that you drink regularly, or do you try new things all the time?
Yeah, so if you are, if you're dealing with beer variety on a daily basis, like I do, you think about beer like in a very more diverse sense. Yeah, so like, and that's also the message we as Bierothek want to convey. That's not only one kind of beer. So there are all kinds of tastes, all kinds of beer for all kinds of occasions. So there can be a beer as a starter for a nice dinner. There can be a dessert beer. There can be a beer for all kinds of occasions. So this is a very difficult question to answer. What's the favorite beer? Because it depends a lot on the occasion. But if you would press me now to say one particular beer, I would probably say a Mönchsambacher Lager. It's like from a small Franconian brewery close to Bamberg. Which is like a very nice beer I could drink at almost any occasion. That's why I would say.
I have to try that the next time when I'm in Bamberg. I'm quite sure at some point you had to hire employees. When was it that you had to hire them first, and how did you feel about being a leader by then?
Mm-hmm. I can still remember, like, so when we moved into our first office, like, and also besides my co-founders, and said, okay, now we have to hire first people, like, so, and we asked for applications, and I still remember that, funny enough, like, so when I was giving the interview, it was actually like the first interview I was in. Because I've never been interviewed myself before. Yeah, so like the first interview I was giving, and I wasn't the one applying for the job. For sure it felt like a responsibility in a way, and it was kind of exciting to hire first people, but. That's the way it goes, and like we were always very driven by the mission to build this, and that's how you need to do it.
How many employees do you have at the moment? I think that's kind of difficult to answer if you have all the franchise system, but maybe you have a number for me.
Yes, here in our headquarter and central warehouse, we are about 20 to 25 people roughly, and each and every individual store also has its own staff, so it probably, if you count that in, so it accumulates to roughly 100 people.
Yeah, quite a good number. So I think we can look back on some things in the history of the Bierothek. And of course, not everything was always sunshine and bright, as you already mentioned. What have been your biggest barriers and difficulties you had to challenge?
Oh, there are so many, and it changes also throughout, like, let's say, the life cycle of a young startup company. Yeah, probably in the very beginning, it's about creating the product. Yeah, so then if you've created the product and you see like, okay, product can work, or product or service, then it's sometimes challenging, like how to scale it to like a relevant size, and then always the question how to finance everything. Yeah, so these are challenges which there are so many challenges all the time. That's basically a part of the deal. Yeah, so like it's not like you're ever kind of finished, because like there are always new challenges coming up, and you should you should have a positive attitude towards challenges, because otherwise it will be difficult, because like it's that's the daily routine. Yeah, dealing with problems and challenges.
Yeah. Is there any kind of fuck up example you might want to share?
Also, so many I could talk about. Maybe one, for example, like, so when we, in the beginning, when we wanted to sell beers from abroad, we were buying them from importers who imported them. And then we said, okay, we want to become more independent and import ourselves, and started off importing again without having experience what it means and what's important when it comes to importing. And so, for example, like, we were already in touch with like a very good and successful craft beer brewery from Japan, and wanted to import the beers, and we totally miscalculated the volume, the amount. So we bought like a full 20 feet container, which was just too much. Yeah, so like we quickly realized that okay, we're never going to sell this beer before it is expiring. And there were several 10,000s of euros on the line, and so this was like a typical mistake done in the beginning, like because we didn't have the experience on what are the right volumes to calculate with, and but these are also the things you learn from, and which will always happen.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And from an entrepreneur's perspective, how did you experience the COVID-19 pandemic, and what do you think? What impact did it have on the Bierothek?
Luckily we were not impacted so much. Our stores were affected in a way. Not so much as other industries, but our physical stores were kind of affected, because if there's nobody shopping, then in the city it's a problem. But also on the other hand, like, our e-commerce was growing during that time. Yeah, so it kind of balanced us out a bit, and it proved that it's good to have several streams of income and revenue, so that you can balance out if there's some external shock, which was the case. So overall, obviously it was a challenging time, but we are I think we came out of it even stronger than before, and we made it pretty okay.
Sounds good. Nice to hear that. And now, one of my favorite questions. Looking back, what makes you especially proud?
Sometimes like the smaller things, like, so for example, like what I really enjoy is like if I sometimes go to a city where there's a store of ours, and I just enter the store like on a whatever Saturday afternoon, like, and I just watch people, like customers there, enjoying the experience, finding nice beers, and that gives me a lot of pleasure to see the whole idea and the thing working, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction to see that it's really working and making people happy.
Yeah, sounds great. And in the online shop business, I remember reading about shipping to Scandinavia. Is that right? Is there something you can say? Because I imagine alcohol selling in Scandinavia could be quite difficult.
Yes, I mean that's actually something which we are just scaling up right now, or have just introduced over the past couple of months. Basically, we took on the challenge, as you already mentioned, like it's to send beers to other European countries in a legal way is very challenging, because you not only have to deal with value-added tax, but you also have to deal with excise duties and so on. Yeah, so like very complex how to deal with it. We went through this very difficult process and find a way, and got the special licenses and permits to be able now to sell in countries like Sweden and Finland, for example. And we're now able to serve these markets, which is also great experience to getting more international customers. Making them happy with nice German lager beers, which they enjoy, and that's something which we will roll out to even more countries. So right now we are registered in 4 countries, but we are going into even more European markets step by step.
Okay, that sounds really great, and those are great achievements too. So thanks for sharing. You already mentioned what you are planning a little bit, but maybe you can tell me, where do you see Die Bierothek in, let's say, 1, 5, and 10 years?
Yeah, good question. For sure, we want to expand more into other European markets, like online, but probably also offline. So we want to get like more physical presence also in other European markets. So we always have this vision of like making Bierothek like the go-to top of mind brand when it comes to beer variety. Yeah. So when a consumer thinks of about a special beer, or he has a special beer interest or need, he should always think about Bierothek, and that's the place where he should find it or get like this special beer variety that he's looking for. And that's the mission we are working on. Like, so want to make Bierothek more well known and sell more happiness in bottles.
I wish you good luck with that, and hope that it works out the way you wish it to develop. Well, as an alumni of HHL, you recently developed a beer climate store together with HHL students. May you tell something about it and what it is good for?
Yes, sure. Yeah, so we had this collaboration with a group of HHL students and Professor Eric Meyer, where we wanted to find out, because we are experts, but still for us it was kind of intransparent, how big is the climate impact of particular beers in our portfolio. Yeah? And our idea was, is there a way to make this more transparent, to deal with the complexity again, because it's very complex to track and trace all this carbon emissions of several thousands of beers. The students did a really good job and created a tool for us where we are now able to attribute a certain score to every product of our portfolio. We are now in the implementation phase, so it's not yet visible on our website and in the stores, but we are working on it and want to make it transparent to consumers, how big the climate impact of a particular product is. Yeah, and also obviously want to give them the opportunity, like to offset carbon emissions which may occur.
That sounds really important, and I think that's a great idea to do it in that way, showing customers their impact with their buy. And yeah, I hope more entrepreneurs and startups follow your example and help people to understand customers, because otherwise they won't. And so we can drink beer and do something for our climate as well, hopefully. Yes, so thank you very much. And yeah, there could have been so many more questions I'd like to ask, especially about beers and stuff, because I'm not into that topic too much.
Not
but
yet.
Maybe next time. So only one final question. Do you have any advice for, let's say, HHL students that might be interested in entrepreneurship and funding in their own business too?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm kind of biased because of my own story, but like as we already talked before about when you asked me about like the risks and so on. So I would say, or I would tell students, HHL students, like that there's no better time in your life probably to start a business, to start something new when you're young and right after university. Yeah, so because like your opportunity cost in life will probably only increase, and it will most likely not get easier, but more difficult. Like, and you have really little to lose. So yeah, that's if I can get across one message, then it would be like yeah, just do it, basically.
Just do it. That's a good finishing sentence. Thank you very much for your time and sharing all those insights on Die Bierothek. I think that's quite an impressive story, and we are proud to have an HHL alumnus that has such a nice story and a product that we all enjoy. I fancy a beer now, but it's not the time yet, maybe tonight. And yeah, I hope we see us soon, and until that, I wish you a nice time. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me. See you next time in Leipzig.
See you next time. Bye-bye.